and you have a suspect that you are able to talk to.
Okay.
To people, putting all of that information into a database. And then what they can do is when they come out and they look into a case like the Nancy Guthrie case that is unsolved, they can go back and look at all that information that they've collected on past cases and try to determine a profile of who is responsible, which is what we are told is happening behind the scenes likely right now with the Nancy Guthrie case. So I was really interested in this process.
Every morning, she tells millions of Americans what is happening in the world. She reads the headlines. She delivers the breaking news. She is the face people trust when something terrible happens. But on the morning of February 2nd, 2024, Savannah Guthrie was not behind the desk. She was on the phone, shaking. Her 84-year-old mother, Nancy, had not shown up to church. Her front door was open. Her bed had not been slept in. And when her family called the police, the only thing waiting on that porch was blood. By nightfall, the FBI was involved. By the next morning, the story had reached the White House. But here is what the news channels did not show you. Here is what got buried under the press conferences and the reward announcements and the false arrests. At 1:47 in the morning, Nancy's doorbell camera disconnected. 30 minutes later, the motion sensor fired. At 2:28 a.m., her pacemaker lost its signal. Someone was at that house, someone who came prepared, someone who knew exactly where that camera was, and used Nancy's own garden plants to cover it before the FBI could see their face. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you will see exactly what that camera captured, and you will understand why, months later, nobody has been arrested. If you are new to Crimixia TV, subscribe right now. We do not leave cases like this half-told. The camera was disconnected. The subscription had lapsed. By every measure, that footage should not exist, but the FBI found it anyway. And what it showed was worse than anyone expected. Here is something most people do not know about Google Nest cameras. Even when a camera goes offline, even when there is no active subscription, Google's back-end servers can retain fragments of footage. The FBI knew this. They went directly to Google, and they pulled footage that Nancy herself did not know existed. What they found on that footage stopped investigators cold. A figure, armed, moving through Nancy's property in the early hours of the morning, not running, not panicking, moving with the kind of calm that only comes from planning. This person walked directly to the camera. They knew exactly where it was. They did not spray it, smash it, or cover it with a cloth they brought with them. They reached into Nancy's own garden and pulled out her plants to block the lens. Think about what that means. They had been to this property before, or they had studied it carefully enough to know what grew beside that door. The FBI began breaking down every pixel of that footage. Here is what investigators identified. The figure carried a backpack, brand unknown, but distinctive enough to pursue. They wore gloves, a specific style that forensic teams worked to match. The doorway arch behind them allowed investigators to estimate their height. Every detail became a thread. Then came the porch. Forensic teams confirmed the blood on Nancy's front porch was hers. Not a small amount, enough to matter. And within hours, a handwritten note arrived. She is without medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. The FBI posted a $50,000 reward. The footage went public. Every news channel in America played it on loop. Nobody in the Guthrie family recognized the figure. Not one person. The FBI had footage. They had blood. They had a note demanding ransom for a woman who needed medicine to stay alive. What they did not have was a name, and that absence was about to send this investigation into complete chaos. Sheriff Chris Nanos stood in front of the cameras and made a promise. 400 officers, active investigation, full resources deployed. I believe she is alive. My team believes she is alive. What happened next was one of the most frustrating investigations you will ever study. Here are 5 things that went wrong, in order. 1. A man was detained in Rio Rico, Arizona, about an hour south of Tucson. His mother-in-law confirmed he worked in Tucson all week delivering packages. He was held overnight, then released. He had never heard of Nancy Guthrie. 2. Investigators found 2 gloves on a desert road 5 minutes from Nancy's home. They looked identical to the gloves in the footage. Forensic teams tested both. They were ruled out completely. 3. On February 13th, police surrounded a property 3 minutes from Nancy's house. 2 people were detained. Neighbors described them as the quietest, most ordinary people on that street. Both were released. 4. A man was arrested for sending fake ransom demands. But the real notes kept arriving. The Guthrie family recorded a video responding directly to whoever held their mother. 5. While this investigation was still wide open, Sheriff Nanos attended a college basketball game. Let that land for a moment. An 84-year-old woman with a heart condition had been missing for nearly 2 weeks. The FBI was involved. The whole country was watching. And the sheriff went to a basketball game. The investigation was not just struggling, it was visibly failing in front of a national audience. And the Guthrie family was watching every single failure in real time, while also receiving ransom notes, recording public appeals, and praying their mother was still breathing. Every legitimate lead collapsed. Every suspect walked free. The desert around Tucson held its silence. A grandmother is missing, and the sheriff is at a basketball game. Tell me in the comments, am I reading that wrong? Because I genuinely want to know what you think. Every lead had gone cold. Every suspect had walked free. And then the Guthrie family did something that surprised everyone, including law enforcement. 3 weeks after Nancy disappeared, the Guthrie family announced a personal reward. $1 million, their own money, for any information leading to their mother. Then Savannah went back to work. She sat behind that desk. She looked into the camera. And for the first time since her mother vanished, she spoke publicly about the night everything changed. She told viewers about a phone call with her brother shortly after Nancy disappeared. He said he thought their mother had been kidnapped for ransom. And Savannah asked him the question that had been destroying her from the inside. Do you think because of me? Her brother went quiet. Then he said, I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah, maybe. Sit with that for a moment. This was not a random crime. Nobody grabbed an 84-year-old woman in Tucson because she was an easy target. Someone chose Nancy Guthrie specifically. Someone knew her address, her routine, her camera location, and the layout of her garden. Someone chose her because of who her daughter is. The entire Guthrie family, every sibling, every spouse, was formally cleared by the sheriff's department. Savannah herself stated she believes 2 of the ransom notes they received are genuine, which means whoever sent those notes is still out there. Whoever stood in that garden at 2 in the morning is still unidentified. If this case deserves more attention, share this video right now. 1 share reaches someone who might know something. Do you think Nancy was taken because of Savannah's fame? Drop your theory in the comments. Some of you are going to see something investigators missed. The family has offered everything they have. The FBI has deployed everything they can. And still, months later, Nancy Guthrie has not come home. Go back to that garden for a moment. Someone stood in Nancy Guthrie's yard in the dark. They looked at her camera. They did not bring tools to destroy it. They reached down, pulled up her plants, and used something she grew to hide what they were doing. That is not panic. That is not impulse. That is someone who had thought about this moment in advance. No arrest has been made. No confirmed location. No confirmed motive beyond the ransom notes the family believes are real. Nancy has not been found. Savannah said it plainly. We cannot be at peace without knowing. And her family made one final appeal that has stayed with us here at Crimixia TV. It is never too late to do the right thing. You are watching this video right now. Maybe you live near Tucson. Maybe you recognize that backpack. Maybe you have seen those gloves. Maybe someone in your life said something once that did not make sense until this moment. The FBI tip line is in the description. Use it. Before you go, do you believe Nancy is still alive? Tell us below. We read every single response. Subscribe to Crimixia TV. We will cover every development in this case as it breaks. Nancy's story is not over, and neither are we.